Alright. A lot of you guys requested me to pick a couple of these giveaway winners live within the video, and today I am honoring that request. So in this video, I'm going to be picking two 25 XRP giveaway winners. It's going to be somewhere in the middle of this video. But also guys, as you know, today once more, if we can get 750 likes within 24 hours, I'm giving away $150 worth of goodies. There is no joke, it is really happening, and all you have to do to enter is press the like button, subscribe, and comment down below what your favorite coin is. And please guys, don't forget to comment down below and don't forget to subscribe. I've actually had it a couple of times where people did win, but they weren't subscribed. And yeah, that really hurts for you, doesn't it? So make sure you do that, and let's get on with the video because it's going to be a pretty heavy one, and you got to stay tuned and watch with a very close eye. So, new stimulus package announced, $1,200 second stimulus checks, unemployment benefits, student loan relief, PPP loans, school opening, CV testing. Now, a lot of this is stuff that we, as people who like economy or economics and finance, like to talk about, like to discuss, right? And we're actually not the only ones, as there were 2.5 million people who watched this article, a lot of whom probably have nothing to do with finance in their normal day-to-day lives. Now, the reason people find this attracting and find this important is most likely because it hits close to home, right? It is very important for them if they're going to get $1,200, but it's also going to be very important for them if this world is going to go down the shithole, or whether or not their money is going to be worth less, or a big crisis is coming. And for a lot of us crypto holders, and in this case specifically XRP holders, it is very important what is happening in this space in terms of quantitative easing and what is happening to stocks. So today I decided to step into that world a little bit and look into quite a lot of different things to get a little bit of a story straight. Now, the main reason I decided to do this was all because I was checking through the internet to new hints and new connections that I possibly could be making or could, dive deeper into. And one of the things I found was that Corey Johnson just posted an article on Vorbs. So yes, he doesn't work at Ripple anymore. He's now a contributor to Vorbs, and he does a couple of other things. But I really thought about Corey Johnson normally pretty often, but ever since he left Ripple, not too much, right? But he said here, crypto gold, it's a thing. New stablecoin checks all the 2020 fear boxes. As Bitcoin and gold hit 2020 highs, Uphold unveils a revolutionary new product, redefining store value for a panicked age. And reading into that, I was like, man, so this guy who was involved with Ripple now has changed his mind so much, and he's gone for a completely different approach to all of it. Why is that? What's going on? And what's really going on in this space that he has to deal with, right? Because, he used to be into Ripple and XRP a lot. What happened? What changed? And what were his opinions back then? And what is it all now? So, thinking about a lot of that, I went to look up a lot of old Corey Johnson interviews, a lot of old Corey Johnson literature, and literally a lot of other things. And one of the things I just found here is, as you can see, a cool video on Banks' account. And you can see here that he actually talks about something. Let's check through it here. We can't play the audio, but we can check the lyrics, or however you want to say it, the text. Action that we've seen, I think, to some degree, it shows the maturity of the asset class, which is painful for those who have been longtime holders of Ether, XRP, or Bitcoin, or what it did take your crypto asset. But I think that you look in times of stress and in the market, some real serious stress like we're seeing right now, a source of cash is a source of cash. And I think what you've been seeing, that where people have just been selling things to get a hold of cash, whether it's because they're long on margin, or they just want to put that money to use, or they are just scared. But I think that, as crypto matures as an asset, I think you're going to see it behave like other assets. And when the time is to get out of the asset, crypto is, you get another A. So I think you're going to see people leave. I also think, though, that there is a sort of a big fundamental issue here, which is that even today, 10 years after the creation of Bitcoin, crypto is still a concept more than its practice technology being need to use. And I think there's a real significant difference between the notional blockchain is something that people trade with, hopes that will have a greater value someday in the future, and functional blockchain, which barely exists in the world. There are very few companies that are doing that, blah, 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 blah. All right, so a little bit too much of the reading. I know. It's very annoying, but I got the point, which I can summarize to you. So first of all, the fact that an asset is an asset and that people will always need cash. People will always want to get into, I guess, something else, which is more liquid. They always are looking for liquidity, always looking for returns, right? Thing to that, though, is that the whole idea of people really wanting cash and people really wanting to go for fiat is really not that prominent anymore. It's really not that built upon or trusted, because people don't really want cash, or people don't really want coins anymore that much, right? And that is to use, not necessarily to hold. I'm just talking about using it at this point. But all of that also coincides with assets like this. In normal cases, I would say that crypto and traditional assets are really not correlated that much. Even though it might look like it a lot at this point, I think to a certain degree is just the greed of people showing, because there's not enough use case just quite yet, which is another thing he explains here, that there's a lot of, I guess just blockchain for the sake of speculation, but there's really a fundamental issue where people don't invest for the fundamentals, but they invest for the prospects of profits, if that's the right way to say it, which is a very big issue. But that is also why I think that at this point, these assets are correlated, because with a lot of these stocks and these assets, people go into them purely for the sake of profit. They don't care about the company. They're like, hey, this is going to make me money. And the same they think about crypto. They don't think about the disruptive technology or anything like that. They don't really care. They think about the money that it's about to make them. And what happens then with that spiral is that if assets do bad, people want to get into cash, right? They don't necessarily want to store a value. They just want cash or liquidity. So they go for literal fiat dollars. However, now that coins like XRP have popped up into the space, really, there's no better liquidity provider than going for all of that. And I think it's just a matter of time before people realize that, but it's the truth, right? Liquidity, it just depends on how you measure liquidity. I've been looking into the US liquidity and really all liquidity over the world and kind of comparing it to my original thoughts. I haven't gotten any good conclusions out of that yet. I'm still looking into it. But what I do know now is that really getting into fiat has quite a lot more disadvantages than getting into XRP. And this is talking about holding XRP or holding fiat for a longer period of time to get to a quote-unquote safer space. Now, very often people call XRP a stablecoin, but it is definitely not a stablecoin, as it is actually very volatile. You can look that up on any exchange or whatever you want, any market cap site, which shows you, I guess, the volatility over the last year or so. It is actually pretty damn volatile. And another thing that it actually has, which is a good property, at least that I would say, is that it's a lot more liquid than a lot of these currencies, but also it's a lot less speculative than a lot of these cryptos. The fundamentals are actually quite clear already. And now earlier we saw David Schwartz say that at first XRP was designed just for the sake of designing something better than Bitcoin, and eventually it took the use case that it has right now. But with the use case that it has right now, there's really no question, at least in my mind, that it is about to be golden for what they want to do, and that people are going to be investing into XRP purely for exactly what it should be doing and what it is and all of that. Now, knowing all of this, right? Knowing all of this, I also don't think it's strange that people are getting out of Bitcoin and moving over into cash because they're scared. Bitcoin is supposedly a store of value. But why are they getting out of XRP? Right? Because XRP is not meant to be a store of value. It's meant to be a very liquid asset, or really a very liquid or very interoperable, that's the word, currency. So think about all of that. I was also thinking, all right, so why do people want to get out of assets, right? They want to go for something safe, like, for example, gold. And right now you could say that people are losing faith in their government, which is also when they lose faith in assets and all of that. Everything kind of goes to the shitter. People lose faith in fiat, which is also another prospect for XRP, because if you lose faith in fiat, the gold price goes up. Gold and Bitcoin have a little bit of a correlation going on. And really, in the end, people get out of assets. They supposedly should get out of crypto too. But since Bitcoin has quite a nice correlation to gold right now, and gold is going up, but assets are going down, and fiat is getting less trusted, what happens there is, stocks go down, people were to get into fiat, but fiat is actually also going down because people trust it less, so gold is going up like double. But also XRP and Bitcoin are going up because, well, first of all, Bitcoin is really kind of like gold, where it's a store of value, and XRP is really a very, very prosperous currency in that respect, which deserves to go up. Would you guys get me? All right, now for the giveaway really briefly in the middle here before I continue with my story. One giveaway winner I just picked already, which was Michael Lee. Now, I very often do this, guys, where I just go look through the comment section of my YouTube. In this case, it was this video right here. I just looked through it. I grab the link, go to the YouTube random comment picker, put it in, and just grab a comment from here. Let's actually see here. Please log into your Facebook. How do we do this, guys? Oh, this is a Facebook winner, maybe. Let's go to YouTube comment picker. There we go. Let's put in this right here. YouTube comments, get YouTube comments. And we got it right there we go. And then we press start. And this is just how I do it. It's very, very simple. I do it very, very often. But a lot of you guys said, man, do it in your videos more often. But all right. So the winner here is Jason M. Let's quickly check him out. Looks to be real. He's actually subscribed, so all is good. Congratulations to 25 XRP, and same for Michael Lee. Congratulations to 25 XRP. There will be many, many more giveaway winners, guys. So don't be sad if you didn't win today. A lot of people will get their turn. I'm really trying to help out the community with this, where I think I have a couple hundred XRP just left in one of my boxes purely for donations. I saved it up like 2 years ago or so when I was doing giveaways more often. I want to give it away. I think it's a game. People are helping me out by watching the videos, pressing the like button. I help them out by giving some XRP away, and I also think it just helps with your position in the community, where you're giving something back to all the followers and people helping you out. Because also with all this news I'm looking up, you guys help me by sending me stuff, and I love it all. It's really, really amazing, and I just think giving back is the right thing to do. Having said that, though, we're not done with all this investigating, because looking at this here, G20, right? I've been looking a lot into G20 and their connections to crypto and all that they've been thinking. And one of the things that I just saw, which is actually very, very interesting, hopefully I didn't lose it by just scrolling right now. Please, God, tell me no. All right, so the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors met virtually on the 18th of July. I think a lot of people did not know that they just met on the 20th of July, or the 18th of July here. The communique endorses the G20 action plan resulting from the group's April 2020 meeting, reiterates that the action plan is a living document and points to headway already made since its initial endorsement. An annex to the July communique, or whatever, provides a status and progress report on the plan 36 commitments clustered under 5 pillars. You can see these 5 pillars right here, which are really, really important to a certain degree, but also can be neglected because of something we're reaching into right here. Ripple's Garlinghouse, at least one non-G20 currency will become digitized in 2020. This is old stuff, but it's actually ancient. Why? Well, first of all, G20 had their meeting, and they're talking about finance, they're talking about money, they're talking about all this type of stuff and scenarios all the time, but they're not really letting too much out about exactly what we want to know about. And a lot of people, I noticed over on forums and whatnot, were really, really disappointed with what they have been discussing, as a lot of it really just doesn't matter and doesn't really help the people out. It helps out the companies, which is not what people want, is when they lose more trust in the government, which is why gold prices go up even more. And I don't know, let's actually go into the 1 year chart here. I don't know exactly, this was the 18th, right? The 18th is right over here in this section. See between the middle of this one. Right after the G20 conference, the price has also been skyrocketing upwards. Maybe because a lot of people were really, really let down with what they said here. Or maybe people didn't even know what they said because a lot of people don't watch that. Having said that, though, here's a couple of the quotes from Garlinghouse and why it is so huge to see all of this kind of connecting. All right, if we scroll down a little bit, you can see Brad forecasts at least one non-G20 currency like the Argentine peso or similar will become fully digitized next year. I was really, really amazed when reading into that once more, because at first, whenever I read this like a year ago or so when it came out, I was like, okay, I mean, who cares, right? There's loads of predictions there. But no, it's actually fully explained here in their insights document and actually backed up a little bit as well. Now, the first part is about Japanese, Thailand, all of that. But here you can see CEO Brad Garlinghouse is even bolder because, first of all, Brianne Madigan, our head of global institutional markets, says that this will be enabled by trust custody brands such as State Street or Bank of New York. And what is that about? Well, that's about this. Institutional adoption of digital assets accelerates. For digital assets and associated applications to have long-term staying power, institutional players must embrace the technology. We anticipate that just such a wave of institutional adoption will begin in 2020 with more traditional firms deploying digital assets and blockchain-based solutions. Brianne Madigan, our head of global institutional markets, says this will be enabled by trusted custody brands such as State Street or Bank of New York becoming involved in digital assets. The presence of recognized players will increase institutional confidence in the space and pave the way for greater institutional adoption next year, explains Brianne. And now the important part, CEO Brad Garlinghouse is even bolder, predicting that half of the top 20 banks in the world will actively hold and trade digital assets in 2020. He is one of the many on the team that believes fiat currencies will go digital next year. While SVP of Spring Ethan Beard expects at least one central bank to launch a tokenized representation of their fiat currency in 2020, Brad forecasts at least one non-G20 currency like the Argentine peso or similar will become fully digitized next year. And thinking about that, having it in the back of my head, I looked up what are the 20 top banks, right? What are they? Because, well, it's going to be important. Funny enough, this was just posted a couple of days ago, and looking into it, first of all, China. Okay. Second of all, China. Okay, third of all, China. And then fourth of all, China once more. Fifth of all, JP Morgan and Chase, and then the list gets changed a little bit. But the first four are China. And he expects half of these banks, of which at least, quite a couple of them are I guess already in the good part of the US. But most of them are not. All right, a lot of them are not. And thinking about that, I was like, damn, right? US in this list has 4. China has 4, I guess Japan has like 4 as well, and all of that. But China is the first 4 biggest banks. And just knowing about that, I was like, man, China aims to be one of the world's most dominant blockchain powers in the world right now. They've been claiming about that for a very, very long while. Maybe Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse knows a little bit more about this. Why am I saying that? Because, well, very often do we see connections from CBDCs and Ripple, we see connections forming. Now, one reason to debate it is because it will be kind of weird for China to work with a US company or US fintech company like Ripple, because China is really all about the China, right? But to a certain degree, the connections are there, the idea is there. And how would Brad Garlinghouse know about this? Because getting at least half of this list, right? Half of this list really still includes at least 8 Asian partners. At least, because here's 4 Japan, 1, 2, 3, and there's one on the list. 4 China, and I guess that's it. That's it for the that's it for the Asian ones. But are they only talking about European and British then, and US? Or is he also including China in this list? How would he know? Because in the end, it's not that strange to assume or to think about where China could get, because I mean, it's all kind of there. It's all kind of written out already. But still, I'm wondering about all of that. I'm really, really wondering. Well, a couple of other things I saw actually from Corey Johnson, which I, for some reason, forgot to put in earlier into this video. At the World Blockchain Forum on November, Johnson participated in a fireside chat with CoinDesk. And by the way, this talk is about what happened to Corey Johnson because he left Ripple, right? And what? Reading through that, I saw, when asked about Brad Garlinghouse's predictions earlier in 2018 that dozens of banks would be on Ripple before 2019 began, Johnson put some of the blame on major banks' failure to provide custody solution. And that's, again, this article is from the beginning of 2019, a couple of the statements from Brad Garlinghouse from 2018, but reading this, it really made my bells ring. First of all, he said this, then later on, the big tweet the big article like this came out where he says, man, a lot of these banks are going to be hopping into the space. And then just a little bit later, we see, bam, Polysign, the global standard for digital asset custody. We see, bam, Standard Chattered, who is an owner of Ripple because they bought a good chunk of Ripple, to launch institutional crypto custody solution. Bam! Banks in US can now offer crypto custody services, regulator says. It kind of all got connected in the shortest amount of time, just the span of like, I guess a year or so. Everything just happened. And it's fun to see that just a little while ago, we were all wondering and talking about exactly what could be coming for the future and all of that. And really just wondering about a lot of things, saying custody is still a big failure in the space and custody is not yet good arranged. But now that excuse is already out of the way as well. And a lot of these parties can now hop in if they want to because the custody is there. It's safe. At least it's really largely safe to get in comparison to all that it was before. And that's something to think about. It's something that's actually really, really huge and we should not underestimate. Again, Ripple making waves in China just further adds to my thought that Ripple and China actually have a couple of bigger connections than we might be thinking about right here. I mean, it's not that strange to assume here that out of all these 20 banks, and Garlinghouse saying that half of them are going to be, opting in or coming in, to say that at least one of them is going to be from China. But if one of them is going to be from China, it could as well be all of them, right? But with that idea, it's not so strange to think that Ripple has some more connections to China than meets the eye. All right, that's just something to think about. We knew Ripple has a lot of connections in Asia, but China specifically. You're not talking about Hong Kong only. I'm talking about the whole freaking China. Yeah, that's something I'm thinking about as well. I think about that very, very often because this is very, 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 very important. And at this point, I'm not going to put any real points down because it's all a little bit speculational about what their connections could be. But reading through here by XRP Arcade by Leonidas, man, it makes you wonder about what type of connections they're hiding and what's happening in the dark, in the back, right? It's really, really something that bothers me, but it's something you won't really find out for at least the next couple of years, and thus I've kind of put it in the back a little bit. I've been putting it back a little bit because I'm like, well, we're not going to know. And then a couple other things just to end it off here really quickly. And by the way, for the giveaway winners, all you have to do is just go to your comment that you posted originally and just change it to your Twitter handle so I know what your Twitter is, and then either send me a message on Twitter and I'll reply back, or just put in your Twitter handle, I'll DM you, or put in your Twitter handle and just send me your address afterwards. It doesn't really matter, whatever you want to do. You can claim it. Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool and pretty simple, but whatever. And then Chainlink gunning for all-time highs, stiff resistance ahead. Well, who cares, right? Chainlink is going to burst through a lot of these resistances soon anyway. We're really close to all-time high, but I think there's a lot more upside to it as well. Then XRP whales go into buying frenzy, further gains ahead. Well, we all know further gains are ahead, further gains are going to be coming. But right now, I would not know for certain whether or not it's going to be a very, very positive point, just because of a lot of uncertainty surrounding 25 cents. A lot of uncertainty. And then here was my my bot actually wanted to do 20 XRP at first, but we're going to make it 25. At first, we're going to be withdrawing a little bit from the XRP tip bot. Then afterwards, I'm going to be having to send it from different spots. But yeah, I was actually already ready to do it. And then I was like, man, let's actually record it live in a video because a lot of you guys requested it. Trust me, man, I see your comments. Don't think I don't see you. And I want to make you guys happy sometimes. Man, come on. Got to give it to me here for staying real with you. I try my best. And last but not least, Justin's son just turned 30. What do you think about Justin's son? Let me know in the comments section down below. He said, today I turned 30. I'm so grateful I have a supportive family, a hardworking global team, and a passionate community. Starting Tron 3 years ago was the best moment of my life. Look how far we've come. Let's make Tron a $100 billion ecosystem. Tron to the moon. And yeah, we just saw some cake, and I'm going to leave it at that because what better can you do than looking at cake to end off your episode? Cake is really, really nice to eat. Somebody send me a cake. I would really, really appreciate it. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys. I almost choked here. Thank you guys all for watching. See you guys again in another crypto video. Have a very, very nice day. And think about these connections. Think about them.